Over the next 2 minutes, I want to make you think about and reflect on how our memory works. Now, I'm not going to go into this in huge detail in 2 minutes, but as a really kind of easy, concrete example, I want to give you 2 things in your life that you might be able to kind of latch onto and think, yeah, I can see how that works and I can bring that into my teaching. So if you're of a certain age, you might have had a landline telephone number at some point. And actually, I remember when I used to answer my landline telephone number, I used to say the number out loud, 01325, 55123, and I constantly did that when I answered the phone. What then happens is that now, 30 or 40 years later, I can still remember that number because I was doing a constant low stakes retrieval activity. And that has now made that a concrete memory in my mind. Also, what I was doing there was I was actually committing it to my lips. I was actually doing something. I wasn't just going, do I remember the number? I was actually saying it out loud, and committing something to our lips or physically writing something down or actually doing something means that our brain is having to do more work and we're more thinking, and that memory is a residue of thought. So therefore, the more thinking we're doing, the more we're going to remember. So if you are of a certain age, like me in your mid-40s, you might be able to remember your landline telephone number now and think, yeah, I remember that and I did that and that's how it worked. Another example is song lyrics. You can probably remember song lyrics from songs that are 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. Why is that? Well, because we have committed it to our lips. We have actually practiced it. We have rehearsed it, and we have constantly revisited that song years and years and years, which means that when it comes on the radio, you are straight back into it from 15 or 20 years ago. Rather than just, I think I know that, you're actually committing it to your lips. So what does that mean for the classroom? Well, what it means is that we know that low stakes retrieval, and lots of them, repetitive low stakes retrieval over a period of time, with our spacing and allowing that spacing to kind of gradually increase all the time, makes concrete memories. And retrieval practice where we have to do something as well. We're actually physically saying an answer out loud or physically writing it down. Same if you've got a keypad code or a lock code on a padlock or anything. The more you're doing it, the more you're actually doing it, the more it becomes a concrete memory. So in terms of our classrooms, more regular, low stakes retrieval where students have to actually retrieve it and have to say it out loud, write it down. That will make a concrete memory, and you can gradually increase the spacing as we go so that, like the landline telephone number, you can actually remember it 30 years later and not just walk out of an exam and never remember any of that stuff ever again. This is an actual memory.